This is Love Notes, daily devotions from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Grace and peace to you. Our devotion today is once again from On Living Simply, words from John Chrysostom, the preacher of the Eastern Church. He starts off today with words that are right at home in the state of Iowa. Consider how an ear of corn is produced. Well, we know a lot about corn, and those who are steeped in understanding the history of botany, I suppose it would be, might note that in the 4th century, in what is today modern Turkey, what is meant by corn here might be a little different than we think. Nevertheless, consider how an ear of corn, or for that fact, a stalk of wheat or any other plant, is produced. He says most of us would point to the labor of the farmer in tilling the soil, sowing the seed, and harvesting the grain. That's what we see when we look out at the vast fields of corn as we come upon harvest time, as the wind blows it in waves, as the tassels begin to show themselves and the corn begins to ripen, and it's ready by fall to be harvested for all sorts of purposes. Chrysostom reminds us, though, that it's not just the farmer who plants and tills and then harvests who is responsible for all of this. He says, but it is not as simple as just that. The farmer needs the blacksmith to make the spade, ploughshare, sickle, and axe. He needs the carpenter to make the frame for the plough and to make a yoke for the horse. He needs the leather worker to make the harness. He needs the builder to make the stable. In other words, he lists off all of the people who've gone into being involved in the production of this corn crop. And he paints the picture very strongly of a community that God has cobbled together, fashioned by various callings to do the work of creation. Each year the harvest comes, but it takes many hands, many talents, many skills. In our age, it takes a plant out west of the church here making cotton picking machines and making sprayers so that the crops will grow healthy. It takes all kinds of people to make sure that a harvest happens. And Chrysostom wants us to understand that this is precisely how God has structured the world. Even after the harvest is brought in, the farmer needs the baker to turn the grain into bread. Other the laborers are worthless. The wheat goes, the corn or the wheat goes bad, sitting on the ground. So just to produce corn, Chrysostom says, many different people are needed. Since we depend on one another, he says, for our very survival, why do we ever try to exploit and cheat one another? It's an interesting turn, isn't it? If we can see that we are all involved in the same processes, that we are all teammates working together for the common good, then how is it that we cheat one another? How is it that injustice rules? How is it that we take advantage of those who are our partners right alongside us in the work that we do? Chrysostom doesn't understand. How is it that we can do this? He says nothing could be more stupid and irrational than to try to get the better of someone else. People who cheat and exploit others are cheating and exploiting themselves because we're all in this together. In a world so easily divided by partisan politics, by points of view, by misinformation, by national identity, by the color of our skin, by our gender, by our sexual choices, In a world that divides itself so completely over and over again, Chrysostom's question is, how can you do that to each other? You're all dependent upon one another. So stop taking stands, I imagine him saying. Stop drawing lines in the sand and excluding people, because God has placed you in a grand community that is only purpose is to work together for the reign of God and for the good of all people. So next time we look around and we see somebody who we'd like to judge or we'd like to exploit or cheat, ask yourself, how would that affect the team? How would that damage the community that I depend upon? Amen.